Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into this podcast in Rome, Italy. We have intern Peter here for the last time. It's a very special podcast episode. I'm your host, Sal. This is the Hey Sal Podcast. Hit it. Okay, let's jump right to the news. We have Virginia Raggi, Rome's mayor, who has announced that the city has won its bid for the 2022 European Swimming Championship. The committee made it clear that a site visit carried out in Rome was decisive. I guess they made them do the visit during the recent flooding, like, look at our beautiful swimming pools. This pool is called Tiburtina, and this pool is called Metroite Republica. The Russians, they love it. So, in fact, authorities have released their evaluation, citing that high flood risk in Rome is the highest in the European Union. Wow. But water isn't the only problem in Rome. Maybe you remember Rome's anti-fascist bookshop, the Pecora Elettrica, in the neighborhood of Centocelle. Have you heard of this, Peter?
Yeah, I have actually heard it's been an ongoing problem.
Yeah, it was destroyed earlier this year, and then it was supposed to reopen November, but then it was burnt down again. And then a bistro next to it showed its solidarity, and it was burned down for it too. Wait, what? So, the hypothesis is that drug dealers in a park nearby were disturbed by the bookshop's business. Can you believe that, Peter?
Pretty ironic.
Because nothing is worse than drug business than grandma reading a copy of 50 Shades of Grey while drinking her tea. Sadly, they decided to remain closed forever now. Speaking of eternity, a new study finds that the Roman Empire was not indeed wiped out by the plague. What they found out instead is that it was ruined by a corrupted political class, unreliable public horse chariots, people dumping their waste on the road or into the many potholes in the road. So basically, nothing has changed, not even the tourist horse chariots, despite animalistic groups trying to get rid of them for years now. Alright, on the bright side, let's look at the events this week and next week. So, Wednesday, which is today, we have the book fair Più Libri, opening at the new Congress Center La Nuvola with over 500 book editors and over 600 events. Saturday the 7th, we have a Christmas concert with Eva Klesse Quartet, which is organized by the German Goethe Institute and the Conservatorio Santa Cecilia. Sunday, on the 8th, there's an open day at the Europark with the topic Surf, Skate, Music and Grill from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free entrance. On the 8th, I believe, right, Peter, we have the Christmas markets opening all over the place. So if you are in Rome, you can start enjoying the Christmas markets in Roma. So, as I said in the beginning, today Peter is here for the last time, which is very sad. He's been doing a great, fantastic job here in the control room, making sure that all cameras work, camera angles are being synchronized and shown in the right moment, the mic's set up perfectly, and he's been behind the scenes doing all the magic tricks with all the overlays and stuff that you see live on the stream. Maybe you put on one right now, like the heysal.net one, for example, just to show the magic that you're playing. So I thought today, since we decided not to have a guest on, to really dedicate some time to Peter today, I'm going to actually visit him together with you. So let's go to the control room. I'm coming.
What's up, everybody?
All right, so here we are in the control room together with Peter. Hey, Peter, how's it going, man?
Hey, I'm still trying to do my job while I'm actually trying to be on mic, too.
We're going to give him some work to do. So today, as usually, you can leave your questions live on the YouTube chat on the right side of the window, where you can just type in your questions. And if you have any questions for Peter today, it's your chance.
What do you want to talk about?
I have no idea. What have you learned so far? What have you learned these days?
I don't know. I've learned a lot over the course of this study abroad semester. I've just been learning a lot about living independently, and even more so than in college. But I mean, you could ask me whatever you want right now too, and I'd be down to talk about it.
All right, very good. So, what was the most difficult thing for you being here in Rome as compared to the U.S.?
I think the initial shock right away was like well, actually not like huge with the language barrier because there's so many Italians that do speak English in Rome, but like one of the biggest things for me was like right away trying to go grocery shopping because as like a college kid I'd never like had to do my own grocery shopping really before, and then I'm going
So
into
basically you were growing up here in Rome.
yeah, kind
You
of.
became a man.
Yeah, I mean you
You arrived a boy, you to return the man.
You could say that. I mean, you showed me some stuff along the way too.
All right, so your parents were visiting here last week.
Yes.
What were they most surprised about coming to see you do in Rome?
What were they most surprised about?
Cleaning your own underwear?
No, yeah, I think they came into our apartment and my mom was a little bit in shock of
Sit
the
down here.
condition of my apartment too.
She was shocked at the condition of your apartment. I have a friend of mine. You should probably see his apartment. You guys, I'm sure, going to kick it off right away.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to sit down here. I'm an old man, you know. It's better. It's a very comfortable seat. I should get this into our main room for the future podcasts. So what did you learn here doing the podcast? I mean, when you started the we still have a long way to go, of course. But before we met, I was doing the podcast in my home office, which was good and bad. It was very good because I just basically went out of the bed and right into the recording room. So I did not really have a very long commute. It was like literally a 5-second commute. Now it takes like an hour. This is okay. But now everything is a bit more professional. There's like professional lights. We have 4 cameras, I believe, in total. Teleprompter now. It's the latest edition. Microphones. We have a whole switchboard here. But when you arrived, most of that was not here yet.
Right.
So first of all, how did you like the experience of doing a podcast yourself?
It was honestly like really fun for me just because, I mean, when I was told I was gonna have to do an internship in Italy, I thought it was gonna be more like what you would think of like an office setting, like super professional like job experience that we would have to get that they would be giving us. But when I found out I was gonna be working with you and working with the podcast, I kind of saw it as like a way to do something that was like new and creative and totally outside of like my comfort zone and outside of the box, which I think is really good. Like I think it's better to be, and especially if you're coming to Italy, like why would you not want to do something like this compared to sitting in an office all day where they're probably like so many of my friends talk like their coworkers in the offices like don't really speak much English. They don't really interact or communicate. Whereas like me and you, we'll go get coffee, we'll hang out, we'll have fun doing this, and it's something that's like totally new. So
right. I mean, when we did the job interview, or the internship interview better, you were in Canada, I believe.
Yes, I was.
With a Canadian flag behind you. That was weird.
Yeah, that was because they had emailed me like a day before or something and said, "Oh, you want to do the internship interview on the 4th of July?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, I guess." Like, and I always go to Canada for the 4th. Shout out to all my buddies back home that we go with, but yeah.
By the way, if you have questions for Peter, as I said before, there's a live chat. Just type them in. We shall answer.
Ask me whatever. Yeah.
Ask him whatever.
It feels weird to be on this side of the interview for a second.
Surprise. Yeah. Probably all your professors are watching right now. They're like, shouldn't he be in class right now or something? Should he be in class?
No, I'm actually done. I'm done with all my finals. So
very good. All right, so let's see. From a technical point of view, what did you enjoy the most here? Or was surprising for you, or was most challenging for you actually? And probably still is, because right now you're controlling everything while you're being interviewed. Which is very hard.
I can switch around a little bit, change this up.
Ooh.
But I don't know. I think one of the biggest challenges is just becoming like familiar with all of the equipment, because I have a job back at school where I record hockey practices. Right. But like that really just consisted of one simple camera on a tripod connected to a computer through an HDMI, like one of the mini studio recordings, and that was basically it. And like it was just me going back and forth. Whereas like now it's like I'm working on here and I have the switchboard and I have the soundboard, which I didn't even really figure out for a while, and I don't really know like how to adjust certain things when it comes to like sound, audio, video to make things into like a good production. So it was kind of, and it's not like I had taken classes or something prior where I had known how to do these things, but
it's a very Italian approach, learning by doing.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's
very good sometimes and very bad other times. But here it was very good actually.
No, I think that's a good thing too, and it kind of showed me like, I mean, when you go into things in the future, you always have to be open to do new stuff, and why would you not? Why would you want to close yourself off to those things in the first place? And then also, you have to be able to learn kind of on the fly. And I mean, I don't know if I totally learned as fast as I would have liked or done it as well, but I mean, I think I've gotten to a point where I'm pretty comfortable with just like the simple technical things. But yeah,
right. I mean, basically, this is a miniature kind of streaming system, live streaming system that also broadcasting is being used on broadcasting for a bigger TV stations. This is a small version of it, but the principle is pretty much the same. You got the what's there? Oh yeah, right. Join us.
Just making sure everyone joins us.
Very good. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, we started out recording before, and then we edited everything, and so it could take up to 2-3 days editing everything, which was a huge pain in the bollocks. But so now we do everything live, which is was a huge step forward. So we have the capability of doing live events, live streaming. People can ask questions live, like now. If your professor's watching, if you ever always wanted to ask Peter something before he's leaving, going back to the U.S. Where are you from? Buffalo, New York, right?
Buffalo, New York. Yep. Shout out. I've been wanting to say this. I just have to, give a quick shout out to the Buffalo Bills, because my football team, my heart and soul lies in that football team. They're having quite the season so far, so hopefully we'll keep it going into the playoffs. But all my friends are gonna totally destroy me for saying that too.
Do they have like a chant or something?
Oh yeah, there's the shout song after we score a touchdown.
Okay, how's the shout song? I want to hear it.
I mean, basically, the gist of the shout song is there'll be like the lead up to it, but then everyone in the stadium at the same time will be going like, hey, and then like everyone will report like repeat, hey, let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo. It's just awesome. Like, I mean, the Bills Mafia fans are, I think, the best fan base in the world. Like, we're literally insane. We've been staying with our team throughout like a decade of just darkness. Like, I saw my first playoff game for the first time 2 years ago, first playoff game in 19 years, I think. But the fans and like the people of Buffalo are just so genuine. They're so like caring about their team. They just love it. Like, the tailgates are insane. Like, if you ever come to the States, come to Buffalo, take you to a Bills game. We'll go to a tailgate. Throw you right through a table.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was in the States a few years ago. I'm sure I'm going to be back, and I will definitely enjoy a game of the Buffalo. What are they called?
The Buffalo Bills.
The Bills. Buffalo Bills. Makes sense.
Yeah. But
nice. All right. So what else? So what are you going to do now the last days when you're in Rome? What is something that you would suggest anybody who comes here to study or to, well, maybe just check it out, not just as a tourist, but goes a bit further, wants to live a life more like a Roman citizen rather than just a superficial tourist? What would you, what have you learned since you are here in Rome and would like to share with the world, with our hundreds of viewers that we have here on YouTube Live?
Thousands of viewers.
Thousands, soon tens of thousands. Once we go viral, everybody's gonna rewatch this. It's gonna be millions of people watching.
Or one day someone interviewing me for a job is going to look back at this and go, I don't know if I like this guy. Yeah.
He's a Buffalo Bills fan.
Right.
No way.
I don't know. I think the biggest advice I'd give to like a kid who's going to maybe study abroad here is to make sure you give Rome like its fair shake. Like, if you come to study in Rome and you're planning on doing a lot of traveling, obviously you want to travel to a number of places and definitely like hit those places, but you also want to make sure you're spending enough time to see Rome, because I think a lot of people will come study abroad in Rome and just like get their week over with and then just be so focused on like traveling to as many places as they possibly can.
Which you did.
Which I did also. But I also stayed in the beginning. But I also stayed back in Rome enough weekends where I was able to see things at like a slower pace. And I think that's a big thing too. If you're gonna come as a tourist, obviously you want to see like the biggest stuff, like the biggest landmarks, but at the same time you want to take time to like slow down, maybe just go for like a slower walk and see like maybe the outskirt things of Rome that you might not like initially. Like, I didn't get to the Borghese Gardens until my family came a week ago, and I've been in Rome
like Villa Borghese.
for an entire Villa Borghese, and I haven't been here, and I've been here for like an entire semester, but I didn't actually get to go because you're so caught up doing other things you can miss something. So that's the other thing about Rome is just like there's an endless amount of things to do that you really couldn't see everything.
It's the eternal city.
It's the eternal city. I've been saying to my friends I'm gonna miss it when I go home and I just don't walk around the block and like.
It's so funny
see the
though.
Vatican.
People, whether they love or hate Rome, I mean, when they love it, it makes sense. But even if they don't like Rome, and they leave because job opportunities might be better elsewhere, the economy is better somewhere else, or other cities are definitely more modern than Rome is. Most keep to kind of look back with a huge melancholy. They really miss Rome and the feeling, because Rome is a very emotional city, I feel.
No, absolutely.
Not sure there's many cities like Rome from that point of view. I mean, there's certainly more modern, better working cities,
But the thing, it's its own beast, like what you're saying. It's not as modern, but it's just like you could come here and just like spend so much time just looking at like the same thing and like being reflective about it and just kind of like taking your time with it, where like the architecture, the history behind everything is like it'll blow you away in a way that like a very modern and up to date, upscale city might not. Like obviously we both know that Rome isn't the very like the most upkept modern, like the Wi-Fi barely works, like but
you definitely want a good data plan on your cell phone when you come to Rome.
Yes.
And you definitely want to use a few smart apps to get around, like Citymapper.
Citymapper, which we invented.
We could make actually a app of the week segment or something. What do you think about that?
I think it'd be a good idea, especially for our smart
Okay,
listeners.
for the new viewer who just came in, hey, how's it going? You can leave a comment on the chat window on the right side, or you can even ask a question to Peter.
Right down there.
It's probably your mom who just joined us.
Hi, Mom.
So we could definitely add a app of the week segment or something, because there are many apps that really make your life easier in Rome, like getting around, like the Citymapper app, for example. But there's also apps that make it easier to make appointments at a doctor. There's apps for that. Very easy going. I used
Med in Action, right? Med in Action, I think is the.
I have to check it out. I should research a bit. I think I use eye doctors. I'm not sure about that. Something like that. It's very convenient. You really literally you get a nice overview of where the doctors are, and you get the reviews. It's something I really like before going to a new doctor. You check in Instagram, good idea. Maybe you got some questions there.
Probably not.
All
my loser friends, they don't want to.
They're all busy already partying. They're all also leaving probably this week, right?
Yes, everyone's leaving.
It's going to be a week of many hangovers, my friend. I have a feeling for you.
No questions. Come on,
no
guys.
Questions about
Come
that.
on, ask me anything.
That's okay. They're busy right now buying the booze.
Buying the booze.
Buying the booze for
finishing their finals.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be
important things to be done.
Yeah.
What's other apps while we're brainstorming for the next episodes?
I mean, a big app for the students around here is Vivino. I don't know if you've used it or not.
Vivino is the wine app,
app.
to track all the wines. What's your favorite wine?
I don't.
Are you using Vivino?
Yeah, I am. Let me see what I have on here. Let me see.
I mean, I used to use the app in a more active way when I drank more. Now I'm trying to have periods where I'm not drinking much. But Vivino is really good to well, sometimes it's good just to see if they screwed you over, because very often I use it when I buy a lot. When I pay a lot in a restaurant for a wine, I usually check what's the price if you bought it yourself. That's what I use Vivino for, just to feel bad about it.
Oh, yeah.
So what you got there?
This one wine that we had in Florence,
L'Osteria di Giovanni. Okay, this is the restaurant where you bought it, right?
Yes.
For everybody who's just joining in, we're talking about the Vivino app, it's an app for the iPhone, and I suppose for Android too, where you can track the wines that you tasted, and you can share it and see what other people think about that wine. So you will never forget about a good wine ever again.
Free advertising.
And very often it's pretty cool. You just scan the label.
You literally take a picture and it'll pop up instantly.
And it will know what it is. So what's your favorite? What's the name of the wine?
I don't know if it actually gives the name of it here. I think it might be from.
No, maybe it's just it's called
Giovanni.
It's a local wine. Okay.
Yeah.
L'Osteria di Giovanni. Okay, in Tuscany. Okay, very good. Nice.
I would highly recommend that place to anyone who goes to Florence too. The owner, Giovanni himself, comes out. He walks around. He lets you know.
Giovanni.
Yeah. He wants everyone to be having a good time.
Does he have a mustache?
Oh, just a little one. Yeah.
Of course.
He's exactly what you would think of someone who's walking around the restaurant.
Mario.
The owner. Yeah.
Nice.
But
great.
Yeah.
What other apps are are a must-have for somebody coming to Italy?
I don't know. I mean, obviously Venmo is a big thing for like college kids.
Venmo.
Venmo. Do you use Venmo at all?
I have no idea what that is.
You have no idea what Venmo is?
Venmo.
That's shocking to me. So Venmo is just basically a way to transfer money. Like do you use any other apps to like send people money other than Apple?
I don't send anybody money. I don't send money. I receive money. I don't know. Venmo, is it like, because I use PayPal usually to send money.
Yeah, PayPal is the thing. But I mean, like for college kids, Venmo, if you don't have Venmo, like going to college, like everyone just thinks you're weird.
Really?
Not broke, but like you're just very incompetent, because so many kids will be like, oh, I'll just pay for this, just Venmo me. And then they'll go on Venmo and it's connected to whatever card or
so you can connect it also to PayPal and
yeah, right, exactly.
Okay, but then why not just use PayPal?
I never use PayPal personally. I don't know.
Is that an old thing for you guys?
It might be phased out, but I just know that Venmo works very easily. But this is it.
Huh. So is it also to pay tabs at the end of the? Because I know
you don't pay, like, you could Venmo like a business if they had a business.
How you spelled it? Venmo. Can I see the app icon?
Venmo.
Venmo.
I can't believe that. You've never heard of it?
No.
It's huge. It's huge.
I know in the Netherlands they're using an app, because in the Netherlands they are very precise about who has to pay what at the end of the night, which drives me crazy because my girlfriend, she's Dutch. And the Dutch people, I love them for many things, but they are a bit too precise about, in my opinion, about going out with people, friends at a dinner table, like 6, 8 friends, whatever the number is. And they split exactly the amount of what everybody has to pay by the cent. And so I'm more that kind of guys, like, whether it's drinking or eating, is like, it's 8 people, let's just split it by 8. I mean, of course, if one person ate 80% of the food and the rest not.
Yeah, and you'll be able to recognize something like that.
All right, but usually it's, give or take. It's like a night out with friends. Who cares? But apparently there's an app in the Netherlands. I have to ask my girlfriend what the name is. I have no idea. If she's watching right now, maybe you can write it into the comment box. And so they basically send each other the money. It's very similar that is owed to the other person, which I find a horrible thing. I mean, it's useful, but it's horrible at the same time. I like to hang out with friends in a very informal way. So if I owe €5 more or less, or 10 or dollars for the Americans watching, or the American watching, because it's not that many, I just find it a bit silly. I don't know. It's
I mean, that always kind of
I find it unfriendly, but then I guess it's in the culture. It's I can understand where it comes from. So it's not coming from a point of. It's actually coming from a point as supposed to avoid situations where somebody feels like they're paying too much or too little or whatever. Like, anyway, I find it weird.
Yeah.
Venmo. Okay, so we have City Mapper app to get around. We have the app Vivino for tracking and seeing wine. But what's the third app? Venmo for transferring money. What other apps do you find are crucial for anybody coming to Italy or traveling?
I don't even know. I mean, it's always good to have the apps of the airlines you're using. I think when you're traveling around. Yeah, right. Like when I traveled, I had like the apps for Ryanair, for Eurowing. Those were really helpful just for like having your boarding passes right there right away, because then you can add your Apple Wallet too, which is the best thing ever for traveling with boarding passes.
I use Apple Wallet a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the best for boarding passes too, because then you're not worrying about the paper. But a lot of those airlines, some of them make you print a boarding pass before arriving, so then they can charge you if you don't have it.
They still do that?
Yeah. I think it's Ryanair that still is doing that. Yeah.
Maybe for cert. Really?
Maybe
for I had it printed out.
I had to do it. I had to print it at the airport when I was traveling from Rome to London, and then London back to Rome.
Huh. Yeah. I think maybe it also happened to me once that they wanted to see it. I'm not sure which company it was, but flying back from Tel Aviv to Rome, I think they wanted to have the printed version of it. I just realized I stole your seat.
No, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Take your seat. Yeah, it's your seat. Here we go.
Only if you're gonna sit there.
I got another seat here.
Okay.
I like the seat, but it's a bit dangerous because it makes you twist and move around a lot. Yeah, it's like very bad for people watching. It makes them probably a bit nervous.
How many viewers we got?
Now we just lost 2 when we talked about Ryanair. We just lost 2 viewers. All right.
See if anyone wrote in. Oh.
Let's see. Okay. I just got a message here. The Dutch app is called Tikkies. So the Tikkies app is something where they send tikkies to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we eat together, we eat out or we have a few pints, and I would have 2 pints and some peanuts, and you would have 2 pints, then you would want the money for the peanuts in the end of the night. Or if I don't have the money on me, then you say, oh, don't worry, just tikkie me. And so you pay for it, but then I have to tikkie you. So I get a reminder.
It's essentially Venmo too.
It is Venmo probably, yeah.
Because
Venmo.
You can Venmo request someone too. But I guess it's like, it sounds less bad if it's like a tiki. Like, just tiki
it sounds
me.
cute, right?
Yeah, it's like, like you owe, like, haha.
When really what you're saying is, give me my money,
give me my
bitch.
money. Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Basically.
In a very friendly way. Oh, well. Dutch people.
Yeah.
So, I love them, man. So, let's see. What else? You're using the iPhone, right?
Yes.
So, you also use Apple Wallet, obviously, which is kind of a way to get all tickets into one wallet, which is nice.
Really nice for traveling.
Not only train tickets. I used it once for a football game.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad, he lives in Germany, but once we watched a football game here in Rome. And, it's basically just a ticketing system in your pocket. Yeah. It's nice. Okay, what else? Wait, it goes so far. Here's a comment. It goes so far, talking about the Tiki app we're in the Netherlands. It goes so far that a guy takes a girl out, and when she is home, she gets the Tiki for the wine she drank. What? Are you kidding me?
Well, that girl should just.
That sounds like a horrible date.
You're just asking.
That sounds
to get
like
dumped.
a horrible date.
Jeez.
Okay. The dating
Is it that
world.
bad?
I should have Jose on one day to get some insider info about the dating world in the Netherlands.
Oh, the Netherlands.
Horrible. I find it horrible. Anyway, so what other apps do you think are useful for traveling, for being in Italy? I personally, for example, since I am a customer of the Banco Poste, which is like the let's call it National Postal Bank or something. I'm not sure if there's something similar in the United States. Mm-hmm. But basically what happens is that you can make appointments through the app, which I find useful, rather than standing in a queue for hours sometimes. I mean, they got pretty good, I must say, in the meantime, with the check-in at the beginning. There's a terminal, then you just, put in the card or press something, and then you get the number. But in the past, it happened that I had to wait for an hour or so if I went to Termini train station to the post office there. Through the app, you make the appointment. You just show up 5 minutes before, and then
that's perfect.
Just scan the QR code or something. Boom, done. Or here's still a comment still regarding the Tiki app. Or 2 girls at the ice cream venue say, "Okay, you send me a Tiki later. €1 for the ice cream." See, I would never ask anybody money back for €1. I mean, unless I really hate that person and I really find them annoying. But €1, you go out with friends.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, just pay it forward the next time.
Maybe it's just me and my buddies. But when we go out, we never. I mean, obviously we pay in rounds. Like if you go out with 3 friends, it's gonna be probably 3 rounds of drinking.
Yeah,
at least. But in the end, it's never a problem who pays. Actually, very often it's a competition here. It's a very cultural Italian thing that it's a competition just to show, no, let me pay. No, I'm going to pay. No, I'm going to pay it. So it's a fight between the people. It's more show than anything else, but it's just this dance that you play just to show, I want to pay. I really want to pay.
Yeah.
Whether you really want to pay or not. It's just,
Yes, exactly.
But it's a gesture. And then the next time somebody else pays. It's that easy, And if somebody maybe forgets to pay the next time, then you pay the second time, and then the other guy pays the next 2 times, whatever. It's like we're not counting. Anyway, getting mad. I don't know. I find these things strange,
Yeah. I thought of another app that I kind of started using towards the end, but I wish I had the whole time. It's called Free Now. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Free Now, is that the taxi, the cab app?
Yes.
Right.
And it's really helpful for. I mean, obviously, if you could find a taxi stand, that's ideal because you just go like an official taxi stand. But Free Now will connect you with official taxis wherever you are, kind of like an Uber, but for taxis. And you could set it up so you could pay on the phone through the app, or you could pay in cash. So you could call a Free Now taxi for someone else, have them get in it. They wouldn't have to have your phone, and then they could pay with cash at the end of it.
And what I like is also that these kind of apps, they have a review system. So you see if it's somebody who... It happened to me once, many, many years ago, and in a time far, far away. When I first came to Rome, it was I think around St. Valentine's Day, and the cab driver, me and a friend of mine, went to a club, which doesn't exist anymore. What was the name again of the club? Very popular back then. It was called I forget now. It's somewhere around Pineto. I can't remember right now. Too long ago. Anyway, but what I do remember is that the cab driver came up to us once he got us there, and he was like, okay, it's twice the amount of what it would have been. Let's say it was 30 euros. He's like, I'd say it's 20 euros. He's like, it's 40 euros. And we're like, why is 40 euros? And he's like, it's Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And we were like, so what? Well, I have to drive the cab because my girlfriend is sitting at home and I'm driving. I'm like, so what? So this is not our problem, you know? So we got in an argument with the guy. And he drove back.
Well. he kept you in the cab and he went
kept
backwards.
Us in the cab until he had to stop at the traffic light, and then we just opened the door and left, you know. And he was very insulting and whatever. These things I think don't happen with the apps, or if they do happen, you can just leave a 0, 1, whatever the worst review. And
smart businessman to drive backwards using more gas money.
No, very stupid. It was a principle. You know. Yeah. But he was, in his mind, it was the most natural, normal thing to do, to charge twice the amount because it was Valentine's Day, because of course it's a very sad event for his girlfriend.
Right.
So yeah, strange people.
I mean, it's like I feel like you always hear a taxi story from someone. Not to say that all taxis are bad experiences or anything like that, but like you hear a story every once in a while. Like I had one. It was just so dumb when I was coming back from. I think we were coming back from Oktoberfest in Munich, and we had a long day of travel. We had to fly, take a train to Vienna, and then fly from Vienna back to Rome. And it was just a long day of travel. We finally get back to our apartment. But when we were at the airport to get a taxi back to the apartment, we made the crucial mistake. We were tired. We didn't get in the official taxi line. And the guy, like someone had come up to us, you need a taxi. And we're like, yeah, we need a taxi. We weren't thinking, just being stupid. Like,
was it the illegal taxi?
Probably was one of the illegal taxis. And stupid us, we got in this taxi and we get taken home. And I knew the guy said that the flat rate was going to be 50 euro from the airport for like 5 of us to take us back to our apartment. And I knew I had a 50 in my hand. And when we got out of the taxi, I went to go pay for the guy, and I handed him the bill that was in my hand. And after I gave it to him, I must have like looked away for a second. And then he comes back to me with I forgot what bill he gave me back. It was a bill that looked like the 50. And he was like, no, you only gave me like 20 euro. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I gave you a 50. He's like, no. And he showed me a different bill. So in the time that I had maybe looked at my friends getting their bags out of the cab, him and his partner had done some kind of switched out the bills, and now we're stuck there like, oh God, like, and I'm thinking, oh God, I messed up. I didn't give him the right amount of money. And then after I had to think about it, I was like, the guys were just sketchy, and they had done the same thing to another guy before. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where you got to be so careful and just smart. Like when you come to travel to Rome, always make sure you get in the official taxi stands. Right. Like it's just one of the.
Or use the app.
Yeah, or use the app. It's just one of like the simple, smart things that you have to do. But yeah,
I suppose also through the app, it's more easy to track them down or to report
if something
them
happens.
If something happens, yeah. So it's definitely safer. So let's
So.
see. Maybe let me check my phone. What apps I'm using the most here in Rome? I suppose it shows you the last apps that you used, right?
Yeah, frequently used.
I mean, Duolingo, of course, to learn the language, but that's. You ever use Duolingo?
No, I haven't.
No, it's like a language learning app.
Oh, cool. I probably could have used that for my Italian finals.
Oh yeah. Let's see what else in Rome. So we said City Mapper to get around, because City Mapper is pretty cool.
I use Move It too.
Yeah, but the cool thing with City Mapper is that it shows you not only the tram or the buses, but also all the car sharing, the possibilities, the bike sharing possibilities.
And you use the car to go, right? Is that?
I use car to go. Yeah, sometimes. Like I never use a car when I live in a big city. When I used to live in Germany in a small town, I had a car, and also when I used to live in Italy in a small town in Abruzzo, I used a car. However, every time I moved into a big city, Like when I used to live in Munich in Germany or in Cologne. I used to live very close to the Oktoberfest, by the way. Then I just sell the car because usually that's a very good public transport system. And so you get around like that. It's very hard to find parking. Like sometimes it takes me 5 minutes to get to a place and an hour to find parking. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So I really hate that. So I tend to sell a car when I'm in a big city. If I were to
Just
move
smarter.
out a little bit of Rome, of the center, I would probably buy a car. But in the center. So it's pretty cool with the car sharing opportunities like Car2Go. There's Share and Go, which are all electric. The yellow small cars that look like they're not cars, but they're cars apparently. And then the Enjoy, it's like a red, they're all red, you recognize them easily. Cars, it's very easy to get around. Now with the Uber Jump, I tried the bicycle recently. It's pretty cool.
You tried it?
Yeah, they got the engine, so it's
those things are weird.
They're fast.
They're so fast.
It's crazy.
They get up crazy. And
it's dangerous too. I suppose
you can't ride them on the sidewalks because I don't think you're supposed to because one of the first times I tried it, I was on the sidewalk for a little bit. I was like, I'm going way too fast. There's too many people around. Right. So I think it's better to hop in traffic or ride it late at night.
Just got to be really careful where you drive because it's full of potholes.
You have to be super careful.
And the traffic is crazy. Yeah. As probably you know by now.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Traffic in Rome is just organized chaos. It works because it's so messed up.
I'm going to check for more user questions here on Instagram. On the YouTubes, in the meantime, we have some comments about the Tikis app, which we talked about before. Let's see. For everybody who just joined in, by the way, you can also ask us a question, or Peter especially, because it's Peter's last day today here at the Sal Podcast. That's why we're sitting in a control room and not in our usual studio today, so we can dedicate a bit more time with Peter to get to know him a bit better before we're sending him back to Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo. Icy, snowy Buffalo, New York.
There's snow right now?
Yeah.
Oh, screw that.
There's a lot of snow. There's a lot of snow. Back at my school, Providence College, right now too, and there's been kids have been wanting them to cancel class and everything. But it's gonna be a bit of a shock going back to all the cold.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. All right, here we go. This is just spam. All right. Here's a question for you. What did you learn, Peter, from the podcast or from podcasting?
I think I learned that it's. One of the things we were initially running into a problem was
one of the many problems.
Yeah, one of the many problems we ran into. That when you're doing something totally new like this, we were both learning on the fly a lot. We were just figuring out what we wanted content wise, which was a big thing, and B how we were gonna kind of promote that. And I think in the beginning we were really focused on how we were promoting it without knowing what we actually were as a brand / as our own content, which I think has developed a little bit more.
It's starting to develop now. Yeah. It's getting a bit more structured. I think it's not completely there yet, but it's getting a bit more structured. Right. It's very hard to figure out who am I? Who are we? Where are we going?
It's the age-old question, huh?
Right.
But
what's the sense? What's the purpose of all this?
I think I learned more about how it's important to identify and establish yourself and create have that value creation for other people, what is huge before you can even try to take off with it. Right. But yeah, I mean that goes with that. Sorry to cut you. That goes with anything you do in life too. You have to understand the value that you're going to provide to someone else, and why are you going to listen to me? In a job, why does what I'm going to say matter to you right now? I'm going to, I have to be some source of value to you.
That's right. So much stuff out there. Why should anybody even watch this for 10 seconds? So now, for example, we have established in the beginning of each podcast episode, we're going to do a little news segment. So we're going to try to find interesting events. We're going to try to improve those and make them as interesting as possible. So even if you're not interested in the guests that we have, which we hope you are, you're going to find something interesting in the beginning stuff happening in Rome, events. Also, we've inserted a bit of news today, a little news segment. I think app of the week could also be something good, or app of the month, presenting one app more in depth that we think is very valuable to you to use an app like that in Rome or in Italy, especially if you're not from Italy, but whether you're from here or not, it doesn't really matter. something that just is useful for you. So, and we'll see. Maybe if you get some feedback and see what people want, we're gonna introduce that if you like it too. Because then one thing I would hate to do is just to cater to people and try to do something that is popular.
Right. That's the thing. You don't want to do that. Exactly.
Yeah, no. If I'd be wanting to do something that's popular, this podcast would probably be very, very different,
Yeah. Right. I mean, you don't want to get corny either. That's the thing. Like, you don't want to. You don't want to just. We've talked about this before. Like, you don't want to just throw in segments just for the sake of having a segment, because then it's just like it's kind of forced.
Right.
And honestly, that was one of the other big things that we talked about, which was like we just wanted the podcast to feel like more relaxed and more of just like a conversation sort of, which is when we had like my two friends on from school. I think it kind of helped us a little bit because like you could see that. I think you could see the difference from like our initial podcast kind of transitioning through like when my two friends from school came on and we kind of laid back a little bit, but we also upped the structure, but like our tone was much more relaxed, I think.
And your idea of making our guests smoke weed before the podcast episode was brilliant. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah. No, just a couple jokes.
So yeah, let's see. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
I'll check it again.
Or lady and gentleman at that moment. I think we just lost another 2 viewers.
People are sick of hearing me talk.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. It's gonna be a big change now. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, you got used to work together.
I know.
And now you're just about to leave.
I know. It's just you up and leave. I'm like grateful for it though, because a lot of the kids who are in like the internship program with my school and everything, like I feel like they didn't really get to form like any kind of, or I can't speak for everybody, but like a lot of kids were just like
emptying trash cans,
like let's go,
emptying trash bins in offices.
Yeah, it's like they didn't. I don't know if they got much meaning out of it. And like by the time that it came for them to leave, it was just like, all right, see ya. Like doesn't really matter. But it is what it is.
Another question just came in. Will you miss Salvatore?
Of course I will.
Oh yeah, of course you had to say that too.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
We'll take more questions from the same.
I mean, look, it depends, what kind of internship it is. I mean, an internship is something else than an apprenticeship. I'm not sure if there's something like that in the States. In Germany, for example, where I was raised, there's like a 3-year internship program. When I learned to become a graphic designer. In the company where I started working, the first months, you just do shitty jobs.
Yeah.
Like emptying the trash can.
But that's the thing. There is a hierarchy,
right?
Like that people have to respect.
And you learn respect, from you start very much at the bottom.
That's the thing.
You understand every single step along the way. You understand in the beginning you're just an assistant to everybody else, you're supporting everybody else. But then slow but sure, you work your way up, and then you earn the respect. It's not given automatically just because maybe you come from that school or from that school.
Yeah.
Like part of getting respect is also how you treat your co-workers, and you have to earn the trust and respect, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean that's something my friend and I kind of talk about sometimes. We always say like you got to eat a slice of humble pie every once in a while.
Right.
Like because I feel like a lot of people my age, and I do this myself sometimes. Like we go in, we're so like focused on like linear, like job oriented focused when we're in school. Like we want to like break in and do so many things like right away, like in the workplace. But at the same time, you still have to like respect that hierarchy that comes with like you have to kind of start. I've always understood you gotta start at the bottom kind of, right. and it helps you because while you work your way up, you kind of understand how things work throughout. So that'll help you once you eventually get to like a higher spot. But
right.
I think that's something that sometimes is lost, and it's like really important to understand that like as a younger person, and I mean obviously you want to go in there and do as much as you can, but like you have to kind of understand your place at times.
Right.
But never don't be ambitious. Always be ambitious about it, I think.
All right, let's see what else we got here. So let's check the questions. All right, let's check also the questions on Instagram. By the way, if you're watching this here is a special episode of the Sal Podcast, because today we have a farewell episode. Peter here, our intern who is responsible for all the stuff happening behind the scenes in the control room. He's leaving this week, so we decided to bring the podcast into the control room where he's doing his magic. And so you have the possibility to ask him some questions before we let him go this week. And then we will see what goes on in the future. One big thing that we managed to do is transform the podcast, give it more structure, but also transform it to a real live broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're live.
Which has been cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's was challenging. One thing we have not managed to do today, but we're gonna probably try in the coming weeks, is have live guests on the show through Skype or some other device. So even if a guest cannot be on the show, they can call in, and we're gonna have a nice, high quality conversation there. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Well, let's see here. If we have no other questions, then we can also, I would say, wrap it up. Peter,
wow,
are you ready for this?
I don't know if I'm ready for it.
Just keep the podcast rolling while we clean up everything.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's interested in that.
All I can say, kind of wrap it up, just like thank you for, kind of showing me the ropes of a little bit of the graphic, the things that go on like the graphic side, but also like the entertainment. Like I like just being around the studio, being around guitars, like the drum set, everything. Like I like that vibe of like the music, and I think that's kind of something I've realized that I like more. But it's been really cool. I'm grateful to have been a part of it.
Great. Well, Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to our viewers. We have also somebody writing good luck with everything to you, so that's nice. Well, time for our closing sequence. Peter, one last time. Hit it!